Have a good...
Your arrival is fortuitous. Tonight the nobles have gathered in honor of the Grand Magistrates. Our spies report that Elisande herself will attend. This presents a rare opportunity to catch her away from her source of power. We'll take a side entrance to the grounds.
We are live, Sam. How's it going?
This is your best chance to eliminate the Grand Magistrates. Good luck. It seems the Dusk Watch are charged with keeping order during the...
My Shadowcrash didn't apply any dots though.
The elements answer to me!
Seems a little weird. Oh, nice, man. Nice, nice, nice. What do you work as, if you don't mind me asking? I always like finding out these little things about people. Only if you don't mind. If you do, ignore me. Well, you know what? Deep's on the board versus not being stunned as well. Oy vey.
The elements answer to me!
Perma stunned, man. Yeah, you should never pull two guards at the same time. It's very rough. Yeah, no, of course it will. Of course it will. It's just annoying. It shouldn't really, you know, work, but it's not the first time it's happened to me, so. Oh, very nice, very nice. Need more of them. I don't even think my workplace has one. Actually, now I think about it, I know my workplace doesn't have one. But I think they just constantly use the excuse of, oh, you know, they're training one up, or, you know, they're gonna train them up, and nothing ever gets done right, but.
The elements answer to me! Marked by lightning!
Hey, Dino. Yeah, so I think Shadow's going to be fine. I mean, you're going to feel a massive drop of H going from Shadowlands into Dragonflight leveling. But at the same time, the tier set alone is extremely nice for like helping you get into the swing of things. One sec, we're just kind of stuck on the wrong side of this. Just kill this trash and then I'll have a look at chat again. One sec, team. Yeah, so I think Shadow won't be that bad because in Season 1, of course, you're going to have the tier sets, which increase your haste by 4%, 8 seconds, and then obviously increase the damage of Mind Seer. So when you do get the proc or when you are casting it, the damage is pretty nice. So I wouldn't really worry about the lack of damage. Utility is still going to be the exact same. You're still going to get a lot of high priority picks just from having PI. No, I wouldn't say that's your fault, Sam. Like, I think Shadow Crash is just a bit buggy. It's not on live, so I don't know what the issue is. I think it's just a beta thing. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's not on you.
No trespassers allowed!
Hey Muffin, how's it going, dude? Ah, yeah, I mean, the ceilings always get you, man. Ceilings always get you. Yeah, Demon Hunter's doing fine, although literally half his damage is Glacial Fury pot, and then he's got 5% on the trinket as well. Like, yeah. But, you know, it's good numbers.
Watch out up here. I've heard tales of
Yeah, Shadow's fine, like, as long as you have multiple targets. But, like, on this, for example, by the time you get there and you get your dots up, the Demon Hunter's already ended it, so, you know. And the tank isn't chain pulling, which is a big thing as well. Not necessarily a bad thing, but... But if you ever wanted to get a Mindseer proc, it'd be on these, right? But, you know... RNG and all that.
Marked by lightning.
Hey Kat, how's it going?
I don't have a target.
Yeah, I'm a big Shadow enjoyer. Let's have a look, shall we? I mean, it's literally Slice and Maelstrom as well, like the trinket. It's doing a lot of damage. Can't be mad though. Can't be mad. I think Demon Hunter has a lot of like instant burst but quite bad drop-off damage, if that makes sense. So if they can't maintain the burst that they do. I mean, look at that. It's ridiculous. Thank you for the sub, Matthew. Now they have a lot of single target burst with the hunt and following it up as well, and then Slice and Maelstrom. Of course, they're going to have to farm the trinket, but when they get the trinket, you know.
Marked by lightning.
As well, I've not done this dungeon in a while. I haven't done it at all on beta so far. So, getting used to like where to CDs and stuff as well. We'll get there. We're doing quite a few dungeons tonight, I think, so. Nice to get a feel for it again. So, I mean, yeah, obviously I'd like them to change N'Zoth because hiding an AoE node, like capstone behind single target node is a bit iffy. But at the minute I'm playing Cthulhu and Yogg-Saron. I do kind of want to have a little go with Yashiraj as well. But as it is right now, the Insanity gen that you get from Cthulhu is just too huge. Like, if you don't take Cthulhu, you rarely suffer on single target on Insanity gen. It would appear somebody has body pulled. That would never happen. Yeah, Sam, I'm running Cthulhu at the minute. Hey Bruno, how's it going? Yeah, it's just too much to like give up the Insanity gen on Cthulhu. Like, if you notice on AoE, like big AoE packs, if you get a Mindseer Tendril, you're just flying for Insanity. Like, you don't suffer at all. Yeah, I'm running without Psychic Link just because... One sec. Just like in the contrast, so Dark Evangelism gives you single target damage as well. Psychic Link drops off the moment that you're on full single target. So I'd rather have the 10% all the time on single target and AoE than I think Psychic Link does about 4% overall in the entire dungeon. So in the grand scheme of things, 4% isn't a lot, really, if you think about it. Then my trinket does more than that. Yeah, it will. Yeah. I'd rather have the spec feel good and play Cthulhu, right, than force myself into N'Zoth or Yushraj. And the thing is with Yushraj, unless you're permanently fearing, or you know, if you have a prop warrior, it's not that bad, because with a prop warrior you can have them open with intimidating shouts and you get like the full benefit, right? But yeah, like without the instant fear every single time, you're just not gonna get the biggest benefit out of Yushraj. That was a nice proc that we got on there. I won't lie. We don't shy away from that damage, team. The only thing about this dungeon, like, you've got the dogs running out all the time, so you mind seeing when you're wasting like a tick. Ah well. It is what it is.
You! Have a look over there.
Okay, man. You run insta and you still get clipped. Yeah, Psychic... If they increase Psychic Link by 10%, it would probably be usable.
The elements and
Yeah, exactly. So the only issue I've got with Cthulhu... Sorry, the only thing I've got with Cthulhu is that the Mindseer Tendril, it doesn't do any damage unless you have like 7 targets, which is quite frustrating, right? Because when are you going to have 7 targets in a raid encounter? You're not, but you're still going to take Cthulhu because the Insanity Gem feels amazing.
I need a target.
I think Shadow Priest is going to be great in Dragonflight, Bruno. Like, damage is there, it's just playstyle. If you don't enjoy Mind Spike, you're going to suffer on single target damage. Again, you don't have to play it, but you're losing out on about 5% overall if you don't play Mind Spike in a single target raid fight.
who needs henchmen? I'll burn you myself. Mortal flesh, so pretty when it burns. It will amuse me to watch you melt. The elements answer to me!
I need to target something first.
Glorious.
You've done well so far, but we must ensure you blend in with the Burning Legion spell. I'll enhance your disguise, infusing it with latent magic.
Oh, very nice cat. I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying Shadow at the minute. I've got no complaints, really. Other than the obvious, like, Mind Spike feeling clunky, but we'll get there. I'm okay, thank you. How are you? Very nice. Yeah, I mean, I think generally the other two pre-specs, like Disc and Holy, are quite lucky. Their content creators and their Discords have been pretty, like, you know, pretty positive about the spec overall. Shadow's suffered a little bit, so, you know, there's not really been much positivity going around, and people have been flapping about and, like, panicking somewhat. And, you know, it got to me a bit recently because I've, you know, trying to build up this community that I've got, and I've had quite a few people expressing their concerns to me because, you know, the top Shadow Priest content creators have understandably been a bit against people playing Shadow. So the amount of new people that I've seen coming into World of Warcraft and liking the aesthetic of Shadow, and they've kind of been encouraged to not try it out, it's, you know, it's a bit too much. When you've got almost the entirety of the Shadow Priest Discord just being openly negative about it and telling people not to bother playing it and stuff.
Excellent. Now that we have the key, the way to the balcony.
It's a bit out of order, to be honest.
Must you leave so soon, Grand Magistrix?
I'm very glad to hear that, Shinny.
My gods would never permit
That's the goal, right? Like, it's not just about educating people on how to play Shadow, it's the mindset and trying to convince other people that Shadow can still be played and that you're not into if you play it. It's still a really enjoyable spec regardless of anything else, right?
Finally, I'll make this quick.
Of course, it's all opinionated and, you know, people have opinions and stuff, but I've always liked it and, you know. Yeah, that's true, Mikkel, but the thing is, Blizzard don't always fall into that, right? Like, it's kind of obvious to Blizzard when some people want things changed and there's good community feedback and positive community feedback. I get that, Cap, but a lot of the time it's not necessarily people that are, you know, cutting edge raiders or high mythic pluses. Of course, Shadow has a skill ceiling like every other class. And there's a lot of, like, there's a lot of things that interact with each other, especially in the talent tree and stuff like that. So I understand that to an extent. But new people are just like the shadowy aspect of it, and, you know, it looks fun having all these apparitions coming out. But again, I do understand it. It's just, it's a shame that it has to be like that, right? Yeah, I think most of the complexity is in the talents and how they interact and such.
We may have missed our chance at the Grand Magistrix tonight.
I stream on YouTube and Twitch, yeah. I have both of them open. I have quite a few Shadow videos. I was originally a Twitch streamer, but I realised my community was mostly on YouTube, so I started streaming on both. Yeah, it's one of them. It's kind of just realising where your community is and trying to do both. I've been quite well received, like, on YouTube, to be honest. I've been quite lucky because there obviously was a gap in Shadow Priest content, and I felt comfortable enough to talk about it and confident enough to know that what I'm talking about isn't wrong. So, it feels good. I'm quite lucky in that regard. Be right back on second stream. I've just got to go check something. Literally 2 minutes. Hello, I'm back. So grant the tendrils don't cause it to tick faster, it's only our own Screams of the Void. So it's only when we're channeling Mindflay, Void Torrent, or Mindseer. And again, Screams isn't necessarily working on live. Thank you so much, Kat. I really appreciate it. Again, it's one of those things, right, where I'm in a bit of an unfortunate situation. So in my guild, at the minute on live, like I play Warlock because my guild needs a Warlock. And going into Dragonflight, we already have 2 Shadow Priests, so it wouldn't really make sense for me to go Shadow. So I've been asked to play Warlock. But I really enjoy Shadow. Like, I'm better at Shadow than Warlock, but of course, I want my raid spot to be guaranteed. Because overall, I am a cutting edge raider and I care a lot more about the raiding aspect of the game. But I'm still going to be pushing keys on Priest and stuff. Well, even then, Kat, like the pandemic window isn't exactly as big as it was, right? Because DP doesn't pandemic in the same way. So, arguably, it's easier to explain to people how Vampiric Touch and Shadow Web Pain pandemic versus Devouring Plague. Of course, Moritz, here you go. I'll leave this up a second for you, just so you can have a little look. So, I'm not necessarily against Mind Spike. What I do wish that they would do, and I think it's a bit too late now, I think they should have had Mind Spike on a choice node with Mindflay Insanity, and Mind Spike would replace Mindflay Insanity, because it doesn't make sense to have 2 fillers in your rotation. It's hard enough to have to, obviously, because if you go fully single target, you spec into Mind Spike, and then Mindflay Insanity. Yeah, I mean, I'm always open, right, to do the high keys and high content, but I've done both. Like, I've raided at a decent level, I've done Mythic Plus at a high level, and I was a Flavor of the Month reroller, so I would just play whatever's the best. But now, like with the way it is now, I'm comfortable enough in the game and like my world rank and stuff that I'm just wanting to play what I enjoy to make me enjoy the game more. So alongside enjoying the game, I get to, like, you know, still do the content that I want to do.
The elements answer to me.
Thank you for the sub, Lilbano. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing, right? It's just not guaranteed, so I'm not prepared to risk my raid spot for it. And as well, the Shadow Priests in my guild are pretty good, so it'd be quite competitive anyway. And competition's always good, but yeah. I hope you get it. Shadow is extremely fun to play in raids, and keys as well, but obviously it's awkward if it's your ult and then you've got to still gear it up and, you know, catch up almost on the content. Like catch up on gear and stuff. But the one good thing about Dragonflight is that you don't have to do all the farming, right? The only gateway to content in Dragonflight is gear, and I'm just dead. It's a really fun dungeon.
The elements answer to me.
How do you change it, Moritz? Like, what talents do you take differently, if you don't mind me asking? Hey, Domingo. Sorry about the audio. I didn't know if there was an issue or not, but it's been fine on my end. I think as well, like in terms of like showing off Shadow Priest, I think I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot as well, going with 2 Demon Hunters. But it's like, it's a guild group, so I know the keys are going to go relatively smoothly. And I kind of just want to see the dungeons and how it compares, because it does no good comparing yourself against like extremely weak spec. That's my opinion anyway. I don't see the point in like comparing against like Ellie Shamans and stuff like that. And not even just looking at numbers, just at comps as well. It's kind of pointless looking at numbers as well, I think.
The elements answer to me.
Because tuning's a massive part still, right?
The waters fast. Behold the power of torrential waters.
Oof, people getting sniped.
Come, the waters fast. Marked by lightning. The darkness clears. I peer into these waters and my
I think the plan there was to do each side in one pull, but those mobs hurt.
claim me. You there, in the rafters, my sacred library.
Hey Alexandros, so I do actually have videos on my YouTube of different builds and different talent setups for Dragonflight. I haven't necessarily done one for raids because I didn't actually get to do any raid testing on all the raid testing days I was working. So I don't have any content, and I don't want to put up a video without having actual video footage of the raids. I just don't think it'll look very good in the video. But I do actually have different builds and different talent setups that you could use quite easily if you're interested in that. But again, everything's subject to change, you know, just because that's the talent build that was good at the time doesn't mean it's going to be the best going forward. I always have to say, you know, stuff's subject to change because I don't want to be to blame for somebody not for picking a spec that doesn't perform necessarily the best, right? I'm sure you can understand that. Ellie's not looking bad, Domingo. It's just it was in an awkward spot because the 2 main builds for Ellie were just performing completely differently. So if you look at Ellie in Shadowlands, you know, you've got big damage in your Lava Burst windows and your multi-strike windows. But then in Dragonflight, you never took a fire ability. Like it was all lightning bolt spam. Even in the pre-patch now, it's all lightning bolt damage. So I don't think it's looking that bad, right? It's just a figure of speech, right, you know? It's one of those specs that just feel rough at the start. I think it'll be alright, give it time. I don't think people remember the dungeons well enough. I'm also quite lucky in the sense that DP does a lot of self-healing. I don't know what Demon Hunter self-healing's like. I know it used to be good with Leech and stuff, but I don't know how good it is as of right now. You were right there. Move in. But no, like, Shadow's really fun. of course, it's kind of iffy when you've got all your AoE around one ability, but I still find it personally better than Serum Nightmare because you actually feel like your dots are doing something, right?
You kind strangers, cleanse this place of their foul presence. They are strong.
But personal preference, some people like Serum Nightmare, I don't. No, so like races don't really matter at all now, to be honest. Of course, you can argue that some racials are better for casters than other. But it's not the case at all with priests, so they're all literally within like less than 1% of each other, as far as I'm aware still. There is a website that like simulates them all and puts the races against each other, but I don't really think there's a point in looking at it, to be honest. So, the main reason people go Goblin for Horde in PvE is that Priest isn't the best with mobility at the minute.
I don't have a talk.
So, it wasn't good in the past, but now, of course, we have access to Body and Soul. You know, we've got feathers as well. There's quite a bit of mobility now, but in raid encounters, it's quite nice to have this little jump just to close a gap. So, for example, there was a fight in was it Legion or Warlords? Warlords? No, Legion with Kill Jaden. And basically, if you didn't have a teleport or like a gateway, you had to be a Goblin because you wouldn't make the mobility requirement otherwise.
What I
So a lot of people are still Goblin from then, and it's so nice to have.
Let me shed some light. As the tale goes, the young Gaul was traveling across the Kunlai plains when suddenly he was ambushed by two strangers. For the ancients! The young Gaul attacked the beast with great determination and ferocity. Yet, the more he attacked, the more fearsome the beasts grew. However, when he let it alone, the beast shrank to near nothingness.
Yeah, that's true. Like, Weakauras do play a massive part of most people's game these days. Like, a Weakaura tells you when to use a certain ability, it can tell you when to make the most of a pandemic window. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We hit the man too much. Yeah, so I've seen a few Arms Warriors. There's a lot more Fury Warriors than Arms. But Arms is definitely looking good, especially with the Condemn build. So definitely, like, if you were enjoying Warriors, like, stick to Warrior because Condemn's just such a big thing. Yeah, so the bug with that crits is there's different glyphs on live at the minute. And there's glyph of the Shah or glyph of Void Spawn. And it actually changes your Mindbender into a Voidling or a Sharling. They actually prevent it from turning into a Mindbender. So make sure you've not got the glyphs on. And that'll completely fix the bug for you.
Giving peace to this sacred.
Hey NKT, how's it going?
Now, off with you. I require meditation before I begin the restoration ritual.
I walked into that. You have Luffy fun. Thanks for the follow, Ludvika. Hope it's going well. Like, I'm good, thank you. I wish there was more kicks going on in this dungeon, but it is what it is. Just wish you could jump over them. Hey Kanoi, how's it going? Very nice. I'm always happy to rev up other people in Shadow Priest. It's a really fun spec, and it's really like nice to play properly as well. Like, you feel good when you actually manage to like learn enough about the spec to make it perform. Tank's just dead. Providing you've got the time, you can arguably just play both. Dragonflight's extremely ult friendly. Like, providing you've got the time to just gear up, because like the only thing that stops you from playing both is the gearing in Dragonflight. There's no mad farm you've got to do. There's not anything massive that stops you from playing both characters. But I understand everybody likes having a main right and unknown what they're going to be playing going forward. Oh, thank you so much, NK. I'm trying. It's getting there. It's weird, right? Because the pulls that you do in this dungeon at the minute is kind of completely different to what it was in MOP. People just aren't used to the mechanics and stuff, and they're relearning them. It says me standing in the front a lot. I thought I had more time to react to. Hey, Relone. Yeah, I mean, Shadow's really good. Just ignore my gameplay right now. Still trying to find that balance of, reading chat and then playing. Yeah, no, Shadow does really good damage. I think most people's upset with Shadow was just the Mind Spike playstyle and the amount of bugs that were going on with the spec. But everybody has bugs. Like, every single spec in the game has bugs going into pre-patch and going into live. The thing you've got with Warlock is one spec's always going to be good, right? Yeah, a bit like what people want a Chaos Bolt to be, right, Domingo? Yeah, I don't know. I find Shadow Priest to be cooler than Warlock, but with Warlock you've got the safety of always having one spec just be good enough to raid. Just completely depends on the content that you want to do. I'm in the same boat, NK. I love Shadow and I'll play Shadow like as much as I possibly can, but I still end up playing Warlock for raids, so not wrong with that though. If your main thing that you want to do is raids, then you've got to play whatever, gets into a raid. Yeah, the old demon form in MOP was insane. Never forget. Being able to tank Garrosh Hellscream on Heroic as a demo warlock with the threat glyph. One of the most fun experiences I've had. Honestly, people worrying about Shadow and keys, there really isn't a need. I know people's like community perception of Shadow hasn't been the best in the past, but Shadow's doing good damage. You bring PI, you bring self-healing, you bring raid healing. The utility you've got now compared to what you had, hopefully is going to change the community perception of Shadow just being not worth bringing to keys.
I need to target something first.
The elements answer to me!
Nah, like honestly, like if you're worried, if the reason you're not going to play Shadow is because you're worried about how to perform in keys, please just try to put that to the back of your mind, because as you can see right now, Shadow, we don't have a lot of haste at the minute. 35% haste, 30% haste. It's not insane. It's going to get higher the more patches that we get, and it's only going to get better. So like Shadow just scales indefinitely with key levels, especially on fortified weeks. I really think Shadow, it's not going to be meta, right? But it's not going to be anywhere near as bad as it was in Shadowlands. And you got to bear in mind as well, like if you're looking at the overall damage in dungeons, try not to at the minute, because they're still going to do that like number scaling.
The elements answer to me!
Exactly. That's literally it. It's just becoming comfortable with your spec. If you can become comfortable with your spec, you're gonna play it like better than 99% of the people out there. And especially if you can find the group, right? The main thing is, if you want to do high keys, just find the group. If you can prove to your group that you can play the game, they're gonna want you doing high keys with them than some random pug that's playing Flavor of the Month. Yeah, you can always learn. Like, don't ever think like it's too late to learn how to play a spec properly. And of course, the best way to learn is just by watching someone. And you know, there's people out there that are just better at certain aspects of the game. Like Shadow Pope, he's one of the highest ranked Shadow priests out there at the minute. His name's Kim Wu on Twitch, and you know, literally he does like the high keys like 28s, 29s. Just by playing in the same group consistently.
Marked by lightning!
Kim Wu. Yeah, so Kim Wu, he lives around where I live as well, and he's been streaming Shadow Priest Mythic Plus for the past year now. And even he says the best way to get like a non-meta class into high gears is just by playing with a group. Of course, Kiki. So the main issues that people are finding with Shadow at the minute is, so one, on single target, you're forced into playing Mind Spike and a talent called Mind Flay Insanity, which replaces your Mind Flay. So as of right now, Mind Flay is this channeled ability, and it's your filler, right? It's the ability you use when you've got nothing else up, you don't have enough resources to use Devouring Plague, or you don't have Mind Blast active. And the problem is that Mind Spike is also a filler.
The heart of the great serpent will not fall into your hands. Jade serpent, grant me strength.
So yeah, so the main issue that people aren't happy with is that Shadow essentially has two filler abilities, when it would be easier for them to just replace Mind Flay with Mind Spike, arguably. Just got to heal the tank there a little bit. So people aren't happy about that for a starter. The tank's just dead. They might do. I think it's a bit too late to expect something now, but I think they can. Moving forward, they'll probably be able to sort some stuff out. I'm hopefully going to be able to stream a lot more often. Can you? At the minute, like, my real life's a bit busy, so it's up in the air, and I stream when I can. But yeah, general plan is to stream regularly, especially when Dragonflight comes out. I do NKT. It's on my Discord, so if you want to join my Discord, I actually have a little text channel where you can import all of the talent builds that I've got going on. It is constantly changing. I'm constantly updating them based on tune and stuff, and Yeah, so just talking about Goblins, Sam. Goblins only really good because of the mobility. The race doesn't actually matter. You can go troll if you want a bit of extra haste, especially early on in the expansion. But it really doesn't matter. I play Goblin because of the mobility. I don't use Macro on Feather Res just because it's the beta. I didn't put it in right. I'm not really using Feather that much. That's the honest answer. I don't have a command, but I can link it automatically for you. Sorry, I know it's not ideal. No worries. So like I said, I'm constantly updating it based on changes to the talent trees, buffs, nerfs, stuff like that. So make sure to keep an eye on any announcements in it and stuff. It also lets you know when I put a video out, or if I go live, it just makes it a bit easier for you to find me. Probably not needed. I wasn't really going to make one. Okay, tank's dead again. I wasn't really going to make one, but then people kept asking me questions that I just found it easier to put into an FAQ or a text channel on Discord, right?
I can't use that item yet. My mana is low.
How's it going, stream, anyway? It's nice to have quite an active stream, to be honest, for once. Thanks for the follow, T. really appreciate that. Yeah, we seem to be having a little bit of an issue with the third boss in this place. Just the magic damage for a Brewmaster is kind of hard to deal with, and especially when you get the, I think it's like a 250k, 300k healing absorb, and then you're still ticking down with stagger. Kind of rough. I wish I knew Muffin, man. I really wish I knew. Maybe now that I've given him PI, he'll actually do some numbers. Who knows?
Marked by lightning.
Jade Serpent, grant me strength.
So just for people wondering, I can imagine there's quite a few people asking themselves this. Sometimes with the new Thundering affix, I won't drop it off. I'll just leave it on me. That this shouldn't have happened here. But the reason that I do that is that sometimes, well, 5 people get a debuff, right? And the last person with the debuff doesn't get stunned, doesn't get damaged, it just drops off. And it gives you a 30% damage increase, so I'm trying to keep hold of that damage increase for as long as possible. Trying to heal the tank. So I'm trying to keep hold of that 30% damage increase for as long as possible, right? So if I'm the 5th person, then I don't need to drop it off, and I can just keep it. And it's dreams over again. Almost, almost.
I need more mana.
So the Wowhead guide is kind of confusing for a lot of people, can you? It can be good if you can sift through it and actually find the information that you need. But at a glance, for anybody that's relatively new to the spec, it can be kind of overwhelming. So I did actually make a YouTube video just going through the single target rotation, the AoE rotation as a little guide, just for new people that find it easier to learn visually instead of just reading. Because I understand personally, I learn better when I see something in front of me and, you know, it's being told verbally rather than just reading it, because when you read it, there's a lot of intricate, like, names and words, and especially for non-English speaking people, that can be an issue. So I thought I'd just put a video up, so that's on my YouTube channel as well. I think we're going to go do another dungeon just because this one is a bit rough on the tank. Again, it's up to you. You can, or, you know, it doesn't really matter if you learn just by reading. Then feel free just to read the Wowhead guide. It is good. You know, it's right by people that understand the spec. But a lot of the time, it's kind of hard to keep up a track of a big page of words and names and talents in front of you, right? Especially when it is a Shadow Priest, because if I show you this really quick. One sec, stream. I'm just trying to do this dead quick.
Hey, how you doing? Be good.
Yeah, like for the average person, like look at this. Like the average person looking at what Shadow Priest can do, you know, you've got to tick which talent you have for a start, and like let's say you just look at all of them. Single target rotation. All that for a new person is kind of rough, right? Especially if you don't have the time to sit there and go through it all. And it just goes on and on. So some people just learn better just by listening and watching. But it's up to the individual. Oh no, yeah, for sure. It helps out a lot because people can pick what talents they want to use and stuff. It does help out a lot. Unless, oh, you mean this action tracker? I thought you meant on the Icy Veins page where you got to pick your talents. Yeah, I'm glad people suggested this. Feels good. Glad, that's the one thing, like, I was a bit hesitant to see if it actually would help or not. Because I don't really look for things like that when I'm watching other people's streams, but I get, like, how it can be helpful. I just didn't think of it.
I welcome Onora's rage. When the winds are still, I will suspect the worst.
I can spare no hunters for the Kanamatra now.
Focus fire! Let fly! Let fly!
The elements answer to me!
Focus fire! Let fly! Let fly! Let fly! Let fly! Let fly! Let fly! Focus fire!
The elements answer to me!
Let fly!
I normally use Plater, can you? But at the minute, this is, I think this might be Plater actually. It's not the normal Plater that I use, but it's, because I didn't bother updating my beta. But my one on live looks very similar. I do actually have my Plater profile on a paste bin if you'd like it.
Let fly! Let fly!
Marked by
I feel like they keep running out to me on purpose. It's not on the Discord, no. I haven't actually linked anything to the Discord yet. I've not, like, honestly, I've been kind of lazy with the Discord. I need to update it all. But I can link it to you in just a moment. I will put it on the Discord though. I need to.
Granite has landed. Strike now.
Your star darkens. Die! This land is mine. Tremble before primal power. Marked by lightning. Die!
Ready to fire!
Can you
Destroy and dismantle! Let fly! Destroy and dismantle!
die? This land is mine. Tremble before primal.
Destroy and ready to fire! Let fly!
Die! This land is mine.
Destroy and dismantle!
For Mythic Plus, yeah, I mean, I'm going to play Mind Spike in single target. You have to, right? Well, you don't have to. It's always the option. But I want to be competitive in single target. So even though it feels really bad to play, of course I'm going to opt to play it just for the extra single target damage increase. And I'll just deal with the rotation as it, you know, comes in. Because ultimately, if you play Mind Spike, right, the only time that you use Mind Spike is when you get a Surge of Darkness proc. Even though Mind Spike is a filler, you're still going to prioritize Mind Flay and Sanity over it, and you're just going to use Mind Spike as a proc. But it still feels a bit iffy, you know. Like,
to conjure an avatar of the storm. Blasphemy. The storm must be quieted and the elemental within it defeated before Clan O'Neill can join the by lightning. Their primalist allies have placed totems that protect this raging tempest. Find them and destroy them. Truly a blasphemous idol. Continue your work.
it's not too bad, but it's just the fact that technically you're forced to press the procs, right, as they come in. Like, if you miss the proc or you don't press it straight away. And it's not just that as well, it's the fact that you've got to use Mind Spike to buff your Mind Blast. So it does become a bit more complicated as time goes on, but, you know. That's just it though, right? Like, you've got to, like, you're going to get experience with it eventually. Yeah, I've done pretty much every single dungeon. So they didn't have all the dungeons open at first, but now they do.
The Primalist's power weakens.
I think my team just think that they just, yeah. No, you can spam them, but between, so it's on weekends, right? So Friday through to Monday, you can do them, but they released them a bit early this week, and we've been able to do them from Thursday. No. Didn't come all this way just to die. But yeah, the set times, so you can't spam them, and Blizzard's like logic of you can't spam them is because they don't want people perfecting them on the beta before it becomes live, which is, in my opinion, a bit of a silly argument because that's not why people are doing them. People are doing Mythic Plus because it's one of the only forms of actual PvE content that allows you to practice your class and see how your class plays. Just as a heads up stream, this is probably the last dungeon I'm going to be doing, for tonight at least. I need to jump off and get some stuff done. But I appreciate you guys hanging around. Helps me out more than you know. Hey Jaira, I appreciate that very much, thank you. I'm trying my best, you know. Yeah, no, I can understand why Blizzard are doing it, but at the same time, their logic for why they're doing it is just wrong. Like, they should just, like, they think people are just gonna spam it just to perfect the dungeon. But yeah. Mind spike animation, is it gone? Disappeared. Ruh-roh.
One more totem, quickly.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the Shadow Priest. Yeah, I do get it to an extent, right? People are passively going to learn the dungeons, but you know, you expect that with a beta. But they think people are doing it purely just to learn the dungeon, which isn't the case. It just happens passively.
The elements answer to me!
I don't, I'm afraid, Jaira. I try to do it in the evenings, mainly. So without knowing like what time zone you're from. But it's generally about 8 to 9 realm time in game. If that's anything to go by. Stuff like that will get fixed to a CureX, right? Like, I understand people's frustration because, you know, you pay for the game and stuff, but stuff like that's always bound to happen, you know. I mean, most of the Blizzard devs are already working on the next expansion. So there are going to be some things that are overlooked or, you know, take a little bit of time to get implemented. But as long as the actual spec feels and plays properly, I don't really mind.
Marked by lightning.
But I do get the frustration, like, you know, people play for a game, they want the content and stuff, but regardless, there's always going to be things missing. I've just accepted that, right? That's not a Blizzard thing, that's just a full game development thing. Every single game in development has it. It's just people like to pick on Blizzard when it happens because, you know, billion-dollar companies, stuff like that. It's just more obvious when Blizzard does it. I think the biggest question at QRX is why are you playing Mindspike? Did you not enjoy the AoE shenanigans instead? Oh yeah, like PvP is like... I don't know a lot about PvP rates, but I know the Shadow Priest is in such a good spot at the minute. Like, it's probably one of the best specs of PvP in Dragonflight, right? Just with the mobility, you've got the single target damage burst, the opener, like, opportunities, it just looks really strong. And I know nothing about PvP, and I can see that. They've reduced the amount of orbs that spawn. It's kind of sad. Oh, maybe. Maybe I take all these. And now I do big single target damage. Oh, can you not take more than 8? That's rough. You used to be able to take 10.
The elements answer to me.
I was able to get 10 that time. That's weird. They didn't let me get 8 last time. Yeah, as I said, stream just for people like filtering in and out. This will probably be my last dungeon for the night, and then I'll hop off. I will be streaming tomorrow. I've got a retail raid, and that's Warlock point of view, so if you're more interested in Warlock, feel free to pop in and say hello. Yeah, definitely make sure if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, because I do put out videos on Shadow Priest. It's primarily Shadow Priest content. I do Warlock and Windwalker stuff as well, but I understand that most of my viewers are there for the Shadow, so I've been aiming more towards just focusing on Shadow Priest for now. But yeah, it's just the best way to, you know, see when I put out stuff quickly. And if you're following on Twitch, that's already massively appreciated. I do stream on both platforms, just so you know. It's not uncommon to see me live on both. And of course, if you have any friends that like playing Shadow Priest and they're not sure what it's going to be like in Dragonflight, feel free to let them know about my channel and watch some of the videos. Because I understand that a lot of people aren't happy with the way Shadow is at the minute, but I still don't think that's a reason for people to, you know, be encouraging other people to actively not play the spec. I don't think there's ever an excuse for that. There is, can you? Yeah. So if you join my Discord, there will always be an alert for when I upload a new video and when I go live. There is a bit of a overlap, so when I go live on YouTube, it classes as a video, so you'll get double notifications, but I'll sort that out. Timings do vary, but closer to Dragonflight launch and after the actual launch of Dragonflight, the stream schedule will be a lot more consistent. I'm working on making a schedule like this week, so it'll be a lot easier for you guys to know when I'm going live and when to expect me to be on and such. Because I know it can be quite frustrating when, you know, you want to watch a streamer but you don't know when they're going to go live, and so I do want to make it a little bit more bit easier for you guys, you know, get in, watch when you can. Luckily, I've got an amazing partner that lets me do this regularly, so I'm quite lucky. My wife's very forgiving when it comes to gaming and allow me to stream. Perks of dating a gamer girl, I guess. Yeah, I'm very lucky, like, considering as well we've got 3 children and stuff, and she's amazing. She knows that it means a lot to me and I like putting out the content, so I really can't complain, ever. So if you ever hear me complain, tell me to shut up. For all of our sakes. The procs on this pack. Oy vey. 4 procs.
Marked by lightning.
All the ghosties.
On our sacred grounds?
This is what has become of our legacy?
I need to get closer.
You shall pay for this blasphemy with your lives. Flee before...
The elements answer to me!
The wind guides my arrows.